Hi, my name is Stephen Taylor. I'm doing my video for evidence-based medicine, and this just simple questions about what I believe evidence-based practice is. What I believe it is a way for people to learn from, someone to learn from other people's mistakes, or what people believe they've gotten right. Um, there is, it's really easily you can real easily utilize it due to the fact that all you have to do is read a little bit. If you read a little bit, you can have an idea of what people have found works for them in the past. There's simple ideas like um, originally ultrasound people probably didn't know the true effect of what it can do. You find out that with ultrasound heating up dilates blood vessels and so on, it took time for people to realize what each modality can do. Um, when it comes to evidence-based practices, when during my undergrad, I did not have a good professor for this. Um, he kind of went over what we needed to do, so I don't 100% feel ready, but I feel I'm 100% ready to learn. I don't have much experience with it because a lot of times undergrad you just do what everyone knows. I mean, in a way, you are doing using evidence based practices, but it's just the standard norm. Well, that's all I have for this video. Right, I'll have two more videos. Hopefully, I can find people for it. Thank you. Bye. Hey, Jim. Not much. Um, Before we start, just want to tell you this is being recorded. Um, Thank you again. It's gonna be real quick, just about evidence-based practices. First thing, go and can you introduce yourself and tell me how long you've been in the profession?
All right, I'm Jim Nave, the Director of Sports Medicine at Eastern Illinois University. I got certified in 1999.
What do you believe evidence practice is, and how have you used it day to day?
Um, I believe it's pretty self-explanatory. I believe that, well, I mean, obviously, um, it seems like when I started in this field, we did what we did because that's what the people before us did. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we iced everything. Ice baths were great, and now evidence has shown that you can lose strength gains after their squats or whatnot if you go right in an ice bath. You don't necessarily make the strength gains running wise if you're ice bathing all the time. It's just kind of one of the examples I like to use. So, like I said, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Now we use the research and the evidence to prove the treatments we're doing work. And honestly, this is a good thing for us if we as a profession going forward are going to try to, let's be honest, compete with physical therapy. Billing wise, everything they do is evidence based. I know with my wife working in PT that she has to account for every minute of what she does time wise,
Yeah.
and also they have to show that everything they do works. You can't bill for it if you can't prove it works. So evidence based is I mean, it's here. It is what it is, and everybody better be going that way.
Okay. Um, well, you already basically answered the next question. About how long have you been really using evidence-based practices?
Oh, geez. Um, honestly, probably most of my career, but you know, but I didn't have the research to back me up. So, honestly, I feel like I've always done it, always tried to do things based on the science. Because you have to explain why things work to people. Um, but honestly, truly evidence-based probably since I got back into the collegiate setting, which was 2015, to where we've really, and I think that kind of coincides with the field itself making the push for evidence-based practice.
Okay. And one last thing. I mean, you've already answered it. Do you feel it's useful?
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, Again, I mean, I think we're in the healthcare field. We're science-based. We should be going off evidence. If you shouldn't be doing treatments you can't prove work. I
Right.
mean, you're wasting time and money. And let's be honest, healthcare is a business. Um, I'm not going off evidence right now, Stephen, but I believe it's healthcare industry is probably, I think, 28% of our gross domestic product. And with healthcare laws and the way things are changing, you're going to have to be healthcare based because insurance companies and Medicare, Medicaid, they're going to pinch pennies. They're going to watch how they spend, and we have to prove what we do works.
Right. Well, thanks, Jim. That's about all I had to do.
Oh, cool. Cool. I hope I helped.
It does. I've got one more person I'm gonna talk to, and that's the seasonal intern from Baltimore.
Oh, cool. Cool. Where are you going this fall?
Haven't heard.
Oh,
Won't find out until after the first.
okay. You go high school first?
That's what it sounds like.
Well, if you get Terre Haute North, I was the best in his wedding, so
That's. I remember you saying that.
Greg's a good dude.
The person who does Terre Haute South is actually in my class.
Okay. And West Vigo, Bobby, he was a student of mine when I was at Rose Hallman.
Ah.
So, I know most of them.
Well, you do know a lot of people.
I'm old.
Yeah, you've been around.
Yeah. Is Lindsay back?
Yes.
Okay. I thought she was gone in June or sometime. I think she was out of town.
Yeah, for the last semester, she did a sabbatical.
Oh, cool. Cool. Tell her I said hello.
Will do.
All right, man. Have a good one, bro.
All right. Thanks, Jen.
You're welcome, Steve. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Just so you know, this is recording. That I have to say that beforehand. Um, can you introduce yourself and say how long you've been in the profession of athletic training?
All right, so my name is Paul Fishman. I've been an athletic trainer for 3 years now, about to go on 4. Yeah, and now I work at UConn.
Okay. What do you believe evidence-based practice is, and how have you used it in the past?
So evidence-based practice to me is knowing what you're doing and knowing how it's helping and doing the best thing to help whatever you're trying to help. So in the past, just doing simple things like, icing it on an acute injury right when it happens, that's evidence-based because it's proven to help decrease the amount of swelling in whatever is swelling. So there's little things like that is how you use evidence-based practice, and some people don't even realize that they use it every single day.
Okay. How much experience do you have with evidence-based practices? Like, how many have you used it from the start?
Yeah, so in undergrad, I think every single class we had, just about every single class we had started out explaining what evidence-based practice is and how it's incorporated in an everyday athletic trainer's life.
Okay.
So that's basically when I started using it. Let's see. Yeah, so I've basically been using it since then, everything I do.
Okay. Do you see any positives or negatives to evidence-based practices?
I definitely think there's a lot of positives, but definitely more positives than negatives. I think one of the bigger negatives is that people don't realize, sometimes clinically, it's not always feasible to do whatever the evidence-based gold standard is. Because especially if you're working at a place with not a lot of resources. Like I know I've had some athletes that were at JUCOs or transferred from a D2 or D3 school, and they're like, oh, I've never seen anything besides stim and ice for treatment before. But sometimes that's kind of the best you could do, because if there's one athletic trainer for 200-300 athletes, then sometimes the best you could do for somebody is some stim and ice. But even if it's just analgesically, it's still helping them. So a lot of people don't realize that just because it's the gold standard and it's the best thing based on evidence-based practice, that's the thing that you have to do every single time. That's just not the case. And also just clinical decision making and personal experience goes into evidence-based practice as well. It's not just pure research, even though research is extremely important.
Do you see it changing the career, the athletic training career path as a whole, evidence-based practice? That question went so weird.
Can you say that one more time for me?
Do you see evidence-based practicing changing the career of athletic training?
I think as the athletic training moves to, obviously the big thing in athletic training, and it's kind of always been the big thing, is trying to be able to get third-party reimbursement, because then that helps athletic trainers get paid more, which is very nice, and everybody wants that. But in order to get third-party reimbursement, you need to make sure that you have a reason for everything you're doing. And I mean, I've worked under athletic trainers, been a student for athletic trainers who, when I ask questions, don't really give a real answer. Their answer is, oh, that's because that's what I want to do. And I think if people really want to progress the profession, evidence-based practice is really important, because when you write a SOAP note on somebody, you can't write on it just a random example that's probably not true, but oh, I did stim on or IFC on him because that's what I wanted to do. You have to write and know that, oh, I did IFC on him to modulate his pain and try and like reduce his pain for him. Like that's going to be how the profession is going to need to go if we want to and have any chance of getting third-party reimbursement as a whole country, not just in one state or two states.
Well, that's all the questions I have. And thanks again, Paul, for doing this. I'm going to go and stop recording.